Yo, this is Tim, and welcome to today's episode of the Live Your Freedom podcast, the Life podcast, where I bring on amazing, incredible individuals and discuss with them life, freedom, dating, happiness, business, success, and all the more so that you can learn, you can grow, you can laugh, you can have fun, you can improve yourself, and you can be the best version of you that you could be. Today's episode is brought to you by Self-Love Army. Self-Love Army is a group, a Facebook group. It's a tribe. It is a community for people that want to find themselves, people that want to find out who they are, people that want to experience true, deep self-love and find out what makes them them. So if you have things going on in your heart and your mind that make you question what's your purpose, why are you here? Who do you love? Who should you not love? Why are you angry? Why do you have fears? Are those fears bad? Are those thoughts bad? What do you want to do in life? If you want to grow in self-love, Self-Love Army is for you. It's ran by my mentor, Thomas Wiggum. He has helped me personally change my life and find a lot of purpose and passion in certain things that were my true loves. So if you want to be part of this incredible group, look on Facebook for Self-Love Army. You'll find it there. It's completely free to join. Self-Love Army's, I think, the best resource around for tapping into self-love and true inner self-development. Today's episode, I am interviewing my buddy Delexis. He's actually a guy that I've seen around New York a lot. He's a guy who came from the dating community that I was a part of back in the day. And we'd been around each other in New York for quite a while. I'd seen him out on dates. I'd seen him out filming videos. I'd seen him out just doing things in New York. We never had a chance to really sit down, but recently Delexis's brand really exploded and he really started giving a lot of value, and he's acquired, I think, a substantial amount of followers, and he's been giving out just some incredible content and helping men and women achieve their potential with attractiveness and dating all around the world. He currently runs workshops in Amsterdam, in London, in different cities across Europe and the United States. And he's helped an enormous amount of men and women find their potential when it comes to dating, when it comes to love, when it comes to being attractive, setting boundaries about themselves. And in this podcast episode, I talk with Delexis and dive in detail with him, talking about how to set boundaries as a man and as a woman, how to be a more attractive person. And he really goes into the raw, unfiltered truth of human dynamics. And this is a guy who's a world traveler. He's an artist. He actually started learning art in the last, I believe it was year or two, and he has gotten to a really competent level where now he's doing it professionally, and he's basically acquiring these different skills and has traveled all over the world, is doing full-time entrepreneurship and coaching, and he's helped many people find themselves through dating, through self-development, and through pushing themselves to be their most attractive selves. His website is mindfulattraction.org. There's going to be a lot of value in this one. I'm really excited for it. It's probably one of the best interviews that I've been able to have in a very long time. This was a good one. You'll want to stick around to the end to listen to everything that we have for you. There's a lot you can learn from this. Let's crack into it right now. Cue the music. Dude, so good to have you, Delexis. So happy that you could be on my podcast. We've been around each other in New York. Yeah. We've been around each other in New York, man, for the past, I guess, 4 years or so, 5 years. Like, I remember the days of me in like the old, dating community and seeing you out and then us hitting it off. And then you kind of did your thing. I did my thing, but we never really had a conversation about what each other did. And I never got to talk to you about what you did. And I guess this is the first time I'm getting to chat with you about it.
It is. It's funny how we met. I actually hit you up for coaching.
Really? Really?
Remember that? Yeah. Cause I was also doing game. I was learning, but my sticking point at that time was opening moving sets. And I was very open to learning from other people, and I saw you approaching some walking sets, and I was like, "Yo, he's pretty good at that. Let me hit him up." We did that a few times. You remember that?
Yeah, I think so. It was the thing is a lot of that time I had no idea what I was actually doing. I mean,
Mhm,
relative to now and just like how I've grown and how you've grown, man.
mhm.
So I think a lot of that time I like suppressed, just like I don't want to remember that
Yeah.
version of Tim. Dude, but it's so crazy. It's so crazy to see how you've grown, man. Like I remember I think about a year and a half ago it was, or maybe a year ago, I saw your channel and I saw mindfulattraction.org. And I was like, wait, this is Delexis from New York. And you had thousands of followers and you had blown
Yeah.
up, man. And your stuff, you give some like real value on your channel. And the thing I love about it is your titles are some of them are pretty dramatic, like the dark side and stuff like that. But when I look at the videos and I look at what you have, I mean, there's some real value there. And something I think was interesting is as you went on your journey of becoming a coach and being a teacher and I guess finding that side of yourself, you didn't just target teaching men about dating as a lot of us who had come from that place had done. You're
Mhm.
teaching and helping to heal a lot of women who are going through a lot of stuff with relationships and dating as well. How did you make that transition, or was it ever a transition? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it was never conscious, to be honest with you. I mean, I feel like if you're open to knowing things, if you have an open mind, some things that are meant to happen will happen. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like
Sure.
it's almost like a flower with a seed. In that seed, there's a genetic code that if things are right and if you don't restrict its growth, it has a predisposed almost like a predisposed look. Like it's
Right.
programmed, right? So it's kind of like, I was very open minded. I never limited myself to one aspect. So it's kind of like the way
Sure.
it happened. It was like I started making videos for guys, and then women started asking me to give them advice, and I was like, "What the hell do I know
Mm,
about women? I don't know nothing
mm,
about women." But like after like
yeah.
a year of them demanding me to make videos, I was
Mm,
like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me make a channel for women, and let me make sure
mm.
that the guys don't find out. So let me call it Mindful Attraction 2.0. Genius, fucking genius.
Yeah, I love it.
No
Yeah,
man,
and the
because
content there is great, man.
it is. I mean, it's the women's content that got me to start like going deeper into psychology because like
Right.
like we are always thinking about it from the guy's perspective, but when you look at dating from women's perspective, you start seeing things
Yeah.
you didn't see before. You
Sure.
start
Can you
seeing,
give it? Can you give an example of like something like that? Because me, again, I'm a teacher of men. I've been coaching guys and stuff like that. And I think I messaged you on Instagram a while ago. There was a woman who wanted me to coach her on some things.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
I've had certain girls that I've worked with before, but
mhm.
I've always been really intimidated by that because it's such a different sphere. Maybe it's same, but I'm curious. What are some of those differences that you've experienced and seen?
Well, so some of the differences are really more. It's not even that question. It's more what are the misconceptions that we have
I
about
see.
women. You see, most
Okay.
women. The thing is with women is that the reason why some women look so unattainable is not that they're confident. It's just that
Mm,
they don't care. They're not over somebody else. Like a lot of
mm,
the times when you meet women, they're trying to get over somebody who doesn't like them. Every woman
mm,
has a guy that doesn't want them. And so, in
mm,
comparison, every dude that she encounters, she automatically compares them to the guys that don't like them back. So it's kind of like you notice, you think that her rejecting you is her confidence, but in reality,
mm.
she feels sad because she cannot get that guy that she really wants. It's kind of like
I see.
celebrities. Let me tell you something. I'm not a celebrity, but what I'm trying to say is that I have a lot of options, but nothing hurts you more than being able to get every woman except that woman.
Mm,
It
mm,
makes every man that comes to you as almost like a pest, right? So it's
mm,
kind of like the misconception that we have about women is that they're 100% confident. No, they just don't care about you. They're preoccupied about somebody that doesn't want them. You know,
sure.
so it's kind of like that's one of them. Like women have a hard time getting over specific people, right? And
Right.
when they don't care about you, bro, it looks like it's confidence, but it's really not. It's like
Mm.
it's crazy, you know?
I assume that was probably really intimidating, like going from a guy who had been in a community full of, men trying to handle their dating lives and improve that part to themselves to putting a conscious focus and I wouldn't necessarily say effort, but putting a conscious focus on helping women with that same area. How did you make that transition, I guess, stick in your mind where you realized I can actually do this? Because I
Well,
never had to with
mhm,
because I
mhm.
was just guys and I just kind of organically grew into it. When did you realize like, oh, I'm actually giving value and women are actually learning from me, and I'm helping heal, I'm helping people
The
grow?
first one, well, the first one was, first of all, I mean, the first thing before I even did pickup, I came from a perspective of like addiction studies. I studied addiction because I was trying to stop smoking weed, right? So
Right.
I never came about it from my perspective with everything was from the inside out. It was like everything
Okay.
starts with your emotions. Everything starts with how you perceive the world, right? So I learned game with that
Mm.
perspective, and I taught women from that perspective. So the first thing I did, like for example, my first video for women was the first one was how to tell if a guy likes you, right? Now, how did I do
Okay.
that? I looked at it from my own perspective first, right? I started with what I know.
Yes.
Okay, what did I do? What do I do to women that when I like them, right? So it all started from my perspective, and then as I
I
started
see.
coaching women, then I started to understand their perspective. It's kind of like it was very. I can't really tell you when that was. It was very. The key to it is being able to think into other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there really isn't a way to, for me to describe that because it was more pre-verbal.
Mm.
It it's tapping into the abilities that our ancestors had, and that was the ability to think into other things. You know, like
Sure.
you gain a fingertip feel when you think into other things after a certain while. You begin to know things at an instinctual level. You know,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that was it, and above all, I started reading books that didn't relate to dating about general
Okay.
human nature, like Robert Greene's books,
Mm.
right? Like the
Yeah.
laws
Yeah.
of power, the laws of human nature. Like I started diving very, very deep. And what's funny, Tim, is that it's because of teaching women that I started getting into reading Robert Greene's book, you know? And it
Interesting.
just went from
Interesting.
there. Very lucky. I got
Mm.
lucky, man, that I
Yeah, I want to ask you this. So a lot of yeah, I think that you've heard the saying like where guys say like women are so complicated and they're so different.
hmm
As a guy who I would say I would call you someone who knows women well. I mean, you have to in order to have people pay you coaching
hmm
this stuff, and your content speaks for it with the results you've had as a coach helping them. Do you think they're all that different actually? Do you think that all the, the memes you see on Instagram about how confusing girls are and like what they say versus what they do, all that stuff, do you think there's truth to that?
Yeah, there is some truth because we operate on different times. Guys have more time than women to decide what they want to do. You
Okay.
know, like guys are judged differently than women. Guys were raised differently than women. Even in childhood, most boys are more emotional than girls. Like when they're children. Like if you notice, when you were a child,
Right.
you were very emotionally connected to your mother, right? You you
Mm,
you were able to feel inside of your mom. But as you grew older, depending on the culture you live in, that was drummed out of you because it's not manly enough.
mhm,
You suppress those
mm,
emotions. So that's why guys
mhm,
tend to be more aggressive because they have a lot of
mhm,
suppressed natural empathy that they suppress.
mhm,
So it comes out in passive
mhm,
aggressive ways. Women, on the other hand, as children, women relate to their fathers more than their mothers. You want to know why? It's
mhm.
because when you are a boy, you understand your dad because you are a boy. So in order to understand
Mhm.
your mom, you got to pay deeper attention to your mom because you don't
I
understand
see.
her that well. As little girls, girls are naturally more assertive and naturally more adventurous as little girls. That's why they love transforming their environment when they're little. That's why they love
Mm,
playing little games. It's their assertiveness. But as they grow older, their assertiveness becomes suppressed because it's not ladylike. So their assertiveness then turns into passive aggression. So they realize this new power they have, which is their charm. And so they learn
mm,
how to control their environment in passive ways, right? So it's kind
mm.
of like fundamentally boys are different, but they're more similar. But when you see the differences, they're pretty obvious. Like
That's
it
so good, man.
does that make sense?
Yeah. So are you saying that it's mainly nurture, or are you saying it's nature? Are you saying that it's pretty much a product of the environment, or do you think biology plays a role in this? And I'm really curious about that because I mean, there's so many different schools of thought, right? There's some people
Mhm,
that say like, we're all the same, and I think there's definitely truth to that. I think people can, at the end of the day, we live in a society where you can be whatever you want, right? So no harm in that. But
mhm.
as far as talking from an evolutionary perspective, do you think that a lot of these differences in men or women, men and women, are based on nature or based on nurture? Because you're in the thick of this. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've seen women and men that were in the worst cases and people that were in the best cases, people with tons of trauma, people with very little trauma. So these differences, is it a nature thing or a nurture thing?
I mean, it's just my opinion, but from what I've noticed is that there are two kinds of knowledge of human nature. You have general
Mm-hmm.
knowledge of human nature, which is things that every human being feels. Every human feels
Mm-hmm.
jealousy. Every human feels aggression. Every human wants what like. There's just some general things that's across all boards, and
Right.
and that is more than the differences. But then there are specific knowledge of human nature
Mm-hmm.
wherein you have specific differences between humans. You have similarities, but me and you have specific differences, right? So
Yeah.
those are the two different things. Like for example, women and men envy different things. Men envy a man
Yes.
of status. Women envy a woman who has a curvy body. You see what I'm saying? Like you don't
Right.
understand the experience of a woman going on Instagram versus you. Like a woman
Mm-hmm.
will look at a guy on Instagram, a girl on Instagram, and she's traveling and she is beautiful. She has a husband, and she'll feel deep envy. You look at the same thing, and you won't even care. So it's kind of like, but then you look at a guy who has high status, and then you feel envy.
Yeah.
But you see, like two different triggers, but the same
Yeah.
emotion. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, yeah, we're similar. We experience the same things, but we react to the things differently you know
Sure.
so
Sure.
that's the difference. So it's kind of like, for example, like guys, like for example, women, when guys think of, I remember when I was younger, I was like, man, women
Yeah.
have it good, they could get dick anytime they want to, right?
We've all had those thoughts.
Right. But then when you think about it, yeah, they can get dick as much as they want to, but it's hard to notice the dick that wants to stay with them. It's like
Right.
women could get the guy, but women cannot keep the guy. See, that's
Mm-hmm.
the problem with women, you know
Yeah.
with
And
guys.
that's actually something I picked up on early on when I was like learning dating.
Mhm.
Um, After I would like meet girls and after I connect with them, I would talk to them a lot, and I would realize that kind of the point of suffering for women with dating is just a different value system, right? It's
Mhm.
not necessarily like one has it worse, one has it better. And you've seen this way more than I have because you've put yourself in the thick of this by being someone who's helping in this industry, right? But the bit I've seen as far as just talking to the women I've been around and talking to the girls I've dated, the value systems of what they value is different.
Yeah,
And my question, just in my own head, has always been: is it biology only, or is it like evolutionary?
culture. Yeah, a lot has culture. It has to, because if
Mm,
it were biology, women will be more assertive than they are. Women are naturally more assertive. Men are naturally more empathetic. It's just how it is. Like when you think about it, think about this, man. Imagine humans. When you think about humans who were hunting in the days of the
mhm,
tribes, humans, when
mhm,
you're hunting, you can't really talk that loud because you're gonna scare away the animals. So men have
mhm,
to look at each other and feel what the other person is saying. It's like when you watch
mhm.
wolves hunt, right? You notice they're coordinated. They have like almost like a little coordination behind it. It's all pre-verbal. It's the
Right.
natural ways that animals communicate before we developed language. So men
Yeah.
were the hunters. So men had like you know how when you play basketball, you almost have that instinct, that camaraderie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You feel what the other guy feels, right? That's empathy.
Yeah.
Right. And guys have
Yeah.
that at a
Yeah.
natural level more than women simply because we are the hunters. But women, though, are the ones that like to assert their power in their environment. They like to transform their environment. That's how they show
Mhm.
their assertiveness through their environment. That's how naturally
Sure.
things will be. So it's kind of like when you don't have when you lose that ability to feel what other people feel as men, you lose a lot of power because then
Mm.
you're in your own head. You're thinking, you're looking at the world through your own view. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like if you lack empathy as a human being, you are lacking
Yes.
you're lacking a fundamental power that every human has. You know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Would you so then what you're saying goes against, I think, a lot of what a lot of dating coaches, specifically like dating coaches for men, talk about. Not all of them, but I think what you're saying is is a one half of things that's not really talked about or discussed. A lot of guys, I think, shy away from this kind of thinking, like you're supposed to be empathetic. But I want to dive further in this and kind of go back on you a bit. I love this train of thought, but I'm curious, with thinking like this, does that mean then that women naturally are supposed to be leaders? I think that's a great thing. And like, if I have a daughter, I want to raise her that way. But it's the thing, like telling your daughter or telling people be ladylike or telling a man like you're supposed to be a man. Where does that come from then? Where do we get the idea that being ladylike is supposed to look like some sort of thing? Or where do we get the idea that being a man is supposed to be some kind of thing? Like, where did that come
Well,
from then?
it's more, for example, when we think about women being ladylike, we're usually looking at it from our own insecure perspective. We're like, hey, don't behave, don't make the family look bad, make us look
Okay.
good. You see what I'm saying? So
Hmm. I
it's
love
not
that,
really,
actually. That's
yeah.
interesting. That's so true. You're so right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you think of your sister going out dressing with a
Hmm.
skirt, you're like, hey, well, what the fuck? Not around the Lexus. Dress normal. The hell? You have my friends trying to tag you. No, 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 no. Dress normal. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of
Right.
like a lot
Sure.
of the restrictions we place on women in reality come because
Yeah.
of men's own insecurity.
I think
So
that's so true.
it could be true. I could be wrong, right? I mean, everything we say, it's there's no there's no research behind it.
I mean, we could all be wrong about all of this. I mean,
Yeah,
what
right.
is any of this anyway, right?
Uh-huh,
We'll find
uh-huh.
out one day,
But we
or
could
we won't.
But we could observe that in the extreme cultures, like when you go to Saudi
Hmm.
Arabia, you see a lot of women are forced to
Hmm.
act in docile ways, but in reality, it's
Hmm.
because they don't want their insecurities to be triggered. When you think of church, why do they tell women to dress normal, to dress like in a
Hmm.
formal way? Because the men don't want to be tempted. You know,
Hmm.
like why are you tempting thy brother? Dress in a
Yeah.
normal way. So it's kind of like those
Hmm.
those things really come from men's own insecurity. So women
Hmm.
find a way to sort of they rebel. So they dress up with
Hmm.
their skirts are a little tighter. They'll
Hmm.
find a way to
Hmm.
rebel either one way or another.
Yeah.
It's like women's assertiveness will come also in terms of like you tell a girl not to do something, and it's kind of like it's kind of like how can I say it? It's kind of like women are sneaky about their assertiveness.
Yeah.
You really don't know how assertive women are. They do it in passive ways. Women know women more than we do. So when a woman sees a woman dressing a certain way, she's like, "Pfft, I know what she's trying to do, you know.
Sure.
But
Sure.
their
Sure.
assertiveness is cloaked with an air
Hmm.
of being an angel. I even made a video about that today on my YouTube. It was called
Hmm.
"Never Let a Man Know This About You," and that thing is
Hmm.
never let a man know you watch my channel. Never let a man
Yeah.
know that you're this smart about human nature, because as soon as he
Hmm.
knows that, he'll get defensive, and everything you do would backfire on you. You know?
Mm. Mm. That's interesting, man. That's really interesting. And what I think what's interesting is because I've worked with the men side of thing. I'm really, I think, lucky because I had a good childhood and I was very close with my mother. I was homeschooled, that I got to understand the female perspective from an early age, not necessarily in sexuality, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely just in terms of behavior. But I think that me being a teacher of dating and having and working with a lot of guys that have been in this dating community that, we both came from, I think there's this bit of we have to combat women and that fear you talked about. And the way I teach now has been so different than how I taught in the past. But a lot of it started with you have to combat women and not let them get the upper hand. Right. And it was all about minimizing fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think what you're saying here really echoes that. It echoes the healthy side of it when you actually understand women.
Yeah, but also it's kind of like I roam in both on both sides, on the dark side and on the light side. Like I
Mm,
also like it's kind of like the thing is that with women is that women they wanna it's fucked up, but women want to feel like you're better than them in an unconscious way.
mm,
When I say unconscious way, I mean like this: when you ask a woman, when you tell a woman, whenever you ask a woman who's not over a guy, whenever you ask a woman who really wants a guy, like who really wants a guy, you'll notice that she thinks he's better than her. It's kind of like a
sure.
woman wants, like, why is it that women fall in love with their bosses? Why is it that women fall in love with their psychiatrists, therapists, with any man of power? It's because they
Hmm.
sense that superiority. They sense it.
Mm,
When a woman
mm,
senses your superiority, some women, not all women though, you know what I'm saying? Not all women, but most women, a majority of them will end up liking you. So it's kind of
sure.
like so even with me, there are some women who I'll hit up who, for example,
Hmm.
I even hit up my ex the other day because I was like, you know what, it's been a
Mm.
few years. Let me
That's a
see.
dangerous game to Lexus.
Well, that's a dangerous game. I 100% know it's a dangerous game, but you know what?
You're like, but I'm coach Alexis now. I'm not the same Alexis as before. So we're gonna take these
No,
new powers.
well, no, the way I see it is that sometimes when you lose hope, when you think that nothing's gonna happen,
Hmm.
what's there to lose? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Right.
when clearly they haven't hit you up, what's there to
Hmm.
lose? There's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So go ahead, fuck it. Like that's
Yeah.
my last result. But generally speaking, though, man, women they react whenever you give them that feeling that you're superior than them in an unconscious way. They react to that, and
Yeah.
there are ways to do that, which is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
want to know about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything.
I look, so it's very simple, man, and I learned this through simple observation, and you could attest to this. The first thing is you want to go back to it's almost speaking to women, not throughout your whole relationship, but initially, you want to
Sure.
speak to them like a parental figure, like
Okay.
the tone and authority. When you look at a woman at a job, like and she's talking to her boss, how does her boss talk to her? Hey, how's it going?
Mm.
Did that job? Good. Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to do that. It's an authoritative kind of voice, right?
Mm.
Or when you look at a teacher, a good teacher speaks with
Mm-hmm.
authority. A teacher that you don't respect speaks like everybody else. Hey guys, today we're gonna learn how to do this, as opposed to, okay guys, today we're gonna learn this and we're gonna learn this. Like that
Mm-hmm.
assertive, simply your tone of voice, speaking to them almost as though you're speaking to a child, not in a condescending way, not that,
Mm-hmm.
but in the tone, like a man. That stuff, that's the
Mm-hmm.
first step, right? Once you have
Mm.
that first, then it's all about moving a lot slower, learning to move slower, learning to slow
Right.
everything down, lowering your
Uh-huh.
nonverbals. That means that if you
Mm-hmm.
smile halfway. If you laugh,
Mm.
laugh halfway. Why? The less they
Mm.
see, more they want to know. The less reaction they
Mm.
get out of you, the more insecure they feel. And when you think of a boss and you say a joke to your boss and you laugh, but he doesn't laugh, how do you feel? A little insecure. You're like, okay, what the
Right.
fuck?
Sure.
And then let's just say he even changes the subject. All right. Anyways, how was did you get the report? You say yeah, but deep down you're like, oh my god, like what do I have to do to impress this guy?
Mm. Yeah.
So it's kind of you begin to do things. It's kind of I remember I had a boss who I thought was the boss, but really wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
The boss
Huh.
was thought the boss wasn't the boss. But then I found out
Yeah.
that it was the opposite. You want to know why? The real boss was very accommodating, try to make friends with everybody, always smiling, always talking. The boss, who I thought was a boss, she was more serious. She reminded me of Aunt Vivian. You know what I'm talking about?
Who's that? No, I don't know who that is.
From The Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
I never watched it. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I've
No, no,
never watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I know. I
no.
know. I need to watch. As a brother, I know I need to be watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I never
Yeah,
watched one episode.
that holy shit, that's amazing, bro. That's amazing. You haven't watched it.
Look, I grew up homeschooled, and I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up.
All right, that's fair enough. Well, Aunt Vivian was like a serious, focused woman, right? So it's kind of like when you
Yeah.
project that onto people, like that
Okay.
seriousness about your work, when you're focused, when you don't want distraction,
Right.
like Kobe Bryant, like the
Right.
Kobe Bryant air. You know how Kobe talked, right?
Yeah, I
It's
do. Yeah.
focused, as opposed to when Dwight Howard talks, happy, trying to
Huh.
make sense. The focused
Yeah.
Kobe's way of talking is the ultimate
Mm.
way of talking to women. Because when
Right.
you don't like the woman, notice what happens when you don't like the woman. How do you talk to her? Hey, no, when you don't like the woman, you talk to her almost like you're bored. Like, hey, what's up? You you,
Sure.
you
Sure.
you don't even look at her that much because you don't want to see her face.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what's up? How's it going? But then when you like the girl, your verbals completely change. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
You respond
Yeah.
fast. You're quicker. You're more reactive. Your face is more obvious. If you could
Yes.
just completely lower your nonverbals,
Mm-hmm.
slow down, lean back, talk to her almost as though you barely woke up out of bed, but you're not awake,
Mm-hmm.
with a purr to your
Sure.
voice. That kind of stuff, man, women love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's
And
simple.
the funny thing about this is that it's so practical what you're saying. It's
Mhm,
not stuff that should go over anyone's head. I mean, sure, some guys maybe at different levels of communication, some may honestly struggle. Everyone could struggle with something, but
mhm,
what you're saying is so practical. It's what I teach. I agree with everything you're saying, by the way, and I
mhm,
teach it in my own version. I probably lack the empathy you have, probably to an extent, because I just haven't seen the full picture like you have. I probably have my own
mhm,
strengths, but the way what you're teaching is so practical. It's so simple. I think the reason why it is this way though is because of tension. I think tension is like the building blocks behind human authority and human leadership dynamics, masculine leadership, feminine leadership, things like that. I think that tension's
mhm,
everything. I feel like when you handle tension, when
mhm,
you are okay with tension, then everything else follows. And I love what you're saying, man. This is
mhm.
actually a way that you're bringing it across. It's much more practical than I've even talked about in a lot of my stuff.
mean, tension is very interesting. You know, it's like when you don't like the person, there's natural tension because you're like, "Fuck, I can't believe I'm here with this chick."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you're like, "God damn it, she
Yeah.
doesn't look at her photos." So you like, "God, let me end this as soon as possible." But she's sensitive.
Whereas, but whereas when you do like her and you still are comfortable bringing out tension, but it's coming from a place of love and appreciation, not literal love. You know, you don't know her well enough to love her, but you're enjoying her as a woman. You're like, this is just a beautiful woman.
What you could do with that is that you have her
Yeah.
around while you're doing your work. You know, like
Mm.
if you love a girl, she knows that when you're working, you're working. She
Mm-hmm.
doesn't bother you. You
Mm.
know, and so she's kind of like, it's kind of like when parents tell their kids, "Hey, daddy's sleeping, so shh, you gotta be quiet." It's kind of like
Mm.
daddy's working. You know, when she respects your time, when she leaves you alone because you're working, that she's like in her mind, she's like, I want to talk to him, but let me leave him alone. That's respect.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like you want her respect above all things.
Mm.
Bro, let me tell you something, man. When you think about this applies to even this. You know who this works best on men.
Mm.
This works even better
Mm.
on men. Men respect men like that. A man's
Mm.
man. When you think of a man's man, he's not
Mm.
goofy. He doesn't goof around. He's
Yeah.
focused. You know, so it's kind of like, for example, look. You know, I play basketball, right? And it's kind
Yeah.
of like,
I never played against you. We got a
yeah,
ball
you
up, by
never
the way.
did. Yeah, you quit when we met. You said you quit. Um,
I started traveling and coaching. I just didn't have
yeah.
time.
Hey man, it's good you haven't gotten fat though. You know, you definitely have a good metabolism. I get fat. But
I don't have genes to get fat. I actually can't like I can't get fat. I may be bigger when I'm 40, but my genetics is not. None of my family's like that either.
yeah, you got that skinny gene. Um,
Yeah, bro.
and so I stopped playing basketball for like 4 months. Right, I had an injury,
Mhm.
and let me tell you
Mhm.
something. Around women, I used to be serious, but around guys, I would goof off, right? Because they're guys. But you know
Mhm.
what happens?
Mhm.
Men don't respect that. I used to notice that guy. I used to notice. I didn't notice how many people disliked me at the gym. I never noticed that. Like a lot of
Mm.
people didn't
Wow.
like me. And the reason why they knew
Yeah.
I was a YouTuber, they knew I got
Yeah.
girls, but they just didn't
Mhm.
respect my demeanor because I was friendly with everybody. Like you would literally yell at me and tell me to fuck off. But because of my mind, I used to be the kind of person that said, if you're mean to me, I'm not going to be mean to you. I mean, that
Wow.
tooth for tooth. You know, we were taught to be good people, but with people,
Sure.
you gotta let them know that if you fuck with me, you're done. Like
Mm.
with people, you gotta be hard to forgive. Strangers, people who are
Yeah.
acquainted,
Yeah.
you gotta be hard to forgive because then when I went back to the gym, what happened was I came about it from this. If you don't talk to me, I don't talk to you.
Mhm.
If you disrespect me, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. So what happened? Not a lot of people talk to me.
And just to clarify, you consciously changed this. Like you
Yeah,
said, I'm gonna change the way I'm manifesting my behaviors in the world right now in this area.
yeah, I'm gonna mind my business
Okay. Okay.
because I
Okay.
had this illusion that people like me. You know,
Mhm.
because they
Mhm.
were smiling at me. No,
Mhm.
sometimes people smiles are just being polite, right?
Mhm.
Like the way to really see if they like you is to leave them the fuck alone. You leave them
Mhm.
alone, and that'll say everything. In fact, if you leave them alone, they'll naturally be more compelled to talk to you. So it's kind of like so people started talking to me, and when they would talk to me, I wouldn't be like, "Hey," I would be like, "Hey, how's it going, man? Thank you, nice to meet you, good." Like very
Mm.
not trying to be funny, not trying to be fun, just giving them this, I'm a serious person. I'm here to work. I'm here to play. What's going on?
Right.
And what you
Right.
know what that causes people? That causes people to warm up to you. You know,
Mm.
like they be like, okay, like they know I'm not a goofball, and so naturally they respect that. And if they don't like me, they will,
Do you think it's warming up to you, or do you think that it's respecting you? I think there's a bit of a difference there. I wouldn't necessarily warming up. I would say respecting.
well, it's both to me. They're both the same. If you respect me, that's good.
Okay.
That's what I need. It's kind of like women. You don't want women to like you. Just desire them to respect you. It'll
Uh-huh.
and so
Uh-huh.
naturally, when you think of a boss that you like, when women have sex with their boss, they don't have sex with the boss who they don't respect. They have
Mhm.
sex with the boss they respect the most.
Mhm.
It's kind
Mhm.
of like with men. If you act in a masculine way, they'll respect you.
Mm.
With women,
Yeah.
some of them will fuck you. Some of them, you know
Mm.
what I'm saying? You know,
Right.
unless they're gay. You know, so it's kind of like, but you know what? That's what game teaches. Game teaches you to be funny, to be self-amusing, to be telling the jokes. You know, the game teaches you to be on the offensive, to do things. You know, this when I'm talking is
Mm.
to do less, and it goes the complete
Mhm.
opposite. Why do you know those dudes who you can't bring around women because they'll hate on them?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're missing this point. That's what they're missing.
Right.
They're missing this. They don't
Yeah.
know. they don't know
I know
that if
guys like that.
oh God, it's horrible, right? And they don't see it
Yeah.
themselves. They don't see it, you know. What's up?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. But the thing is that the reason why they don't see it is because they don't know that laughing and people showing you they like you isn't really what it is.
Mm,
It's not.
right.
Women smiling at you doesn't mean they're comfortable around you. You know, if you leave them alone, they'll become curious about you. Like over
Mm,
time, they'll see you so often that
mhm.
goddamn, there has to come a time when they'll say, "Hey, what's up?"
Yeah.
Let them do that.
That's crazy. Well, the thing is, I remember a time when I was younger, and this is around when I was 19 or 20, and I specifically did. I made actually was I was older than that, not 19, 20. I did the thing you just talked about, and it
Mhm,
was a huge change in my personal life, my personal development, not just dating, just with everything. So I went to when I was in school, I went to Rutgers, and I was in school and I was always like the funny amused guy. And me and you, we've met before. We have,
mhm,
I think, probably a similar archetype. We're both probably like really warm people. Most people like us on a surface level. Like we don't fight people. I know you're definitely not like a fighter guy. I know I'm not. Um, but
mhm,
but when I was in school, even though people liked me, they didn't necessarily want me to collaborate with them on a lot of the experiences they were having. Like if there was a party, maybe I'd get invited if two of my friends were talking about it in front of me, but I would definitely find out that there were things that had happened that I wasn't necessarily a part of.
mhm,
And at the beginning, it kind of hurt. Like I'm not gonna lie,
mhm,
it did. But then as I got into learning dating and success with women and studying psychology more in terms of human behavior and attractiveness, I consciously decided I'm going to stop trying to amuse people and stop trying to be funny to make connections and make friends. And when I
mhm,
did that now, again, immediately the shift I didn't notice. But if I look at myself now, and this is why I kind of asked you about the part, will they like you more? Will they connect with you or warm up to you? Because I've noticed in my life, man, people aren't very warm to me. They don't hate me. No one hates me actually, but people are actually more like intimidated by me.
mhm,
But I do have much more solid connections and I'm invited to way more things. I'm a part of way more things than I was before. People often actually asking me to lead it or be a part of those things, but I noticed a much more respect. But the warming thing, I haven't seen that. My assistant, one of the guys who was coaching with me, he was on my podcast last week or a couple days ago. He's a connector and he's not really a laughing guy, but he's so grounded. He has like the best of both worlds. He's like warm, friendly. He laughs. People love him, but and they kind of respect him. But I went all the way to the extreme. So now I get a lot of
mhm,
respect, but I hear stories of people telling their friends, we're both kind of out there. I have you're way bigger than me on YouTube. And, but we both have followings. People have
mhm.
told me that my friend thinks you're a dick because he ran into you in a bar and you didn't smile or even say anything while he was speaking to you. Like you said, hey man, but that was it. So it's interesting.
But
I
then,
think
but
this is
then,
really interesting.
but then what happened? Put it this way: it's funny. Like, but then if that same person, if you see them and then you're friendly to them, they'll be happy. They'll be they'll be like, oh, he's saying hi to me. Oh wow,
Sure.
finally. You see, for example, let
And
me think, like
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
well, let me give you an example, right? I remember because I go to art school, right? So it's interesting
Mm-hmm.
seeing the things that I apply in art school. So the first week of art school, I was fascinated because I was watching everyone who was so much better than me. So naturally, I would
Mm,
walk around and be like, man, that's such great art. Oh my God, that's
right.
incredible, right? And then there was this like
Mm-hmm.
two 40-year-old ladies, and they were great artists. And one day I was like, yo, man, your painting looks like he's angry. Your painting looks like he's just got dumped or something. And this bitch, she told the teacher, he was like, teacher, he's talking too much. And I'm like,
Really?
I cannot believe, yeah, she snitched on me. And after that, I was like, I hope she dies. I just stopped talking to her, right? So, but
Mm,
unconsciously, I really wanted her to be, if she talked to me and apologized, I would have accepted it. Because this bitch wouldn't even look my way. It was so bad that when she saw me in the elevator, she'd rather take the stairs. I, I,
mm.
I didn't do nothing to her. But unconsciously, you notice
That's
me
real
complaining
hate.
about her. You looking at me. I'm complaining about her. If she would have been nice to me after that, I would have actually warmed up to her even more because
Sure.
she didn't like me and now she liked me. You see? So it's kind of like people of power are not afraid to show negative emotions. They're not
Mm.
afraid to show negative emotions. People of lower power are afraid to show negative emotions. You see,
Mm.
the people who has
And I think it's like a fulfilling prophecy. It's not necessarily just doing that gives you power, or it's sorry, the opposite. It's not just like if you had power, you'd be like that. But a lot of times, I think you elevate your social status by not being afraid of your emotions and feelings.
Mhm, mhm,
Because these
and
are all real things that we experience as humans, like feeling like you don't like someone, or feeling like you don't want to just, or forget not like it. It doesn't have to be an active thing. Like I don't like that person. It's just I don't feel like expressing myself in a smile or a new conversation right now.
and you don't, and people look at that. They observe that. Like, there was this one kid at
Mm.
the gym who I was playing basketball, and I was locking his ass down, right? I was locking him down.
Uh,
I put that lock on him, and he got so mad at me. He was like, "Fuck you! That's why nobody likes you at the gym." I'm not gonna lie, that hurt. I was like, "Cause he's right. They don't like me that much."
yeah.
Right? And then the next day, he came at me. He was like, after that, I didn't talk to him. And then one day he
Mm.
came at me, shake my hand. I was like, yo, dude, nah, we ain't doing that shit. He was like, my fault, bro. I didn't mean to do that shit. And I was like, whatever,
Mm.
man. And it might seem mean, but it's necessary. You gotta punish
Sure.
people who disrespect you. You do not
Mm.
reward them. If a woman talks to you, calls you, and says to you, go fuck yourself, or if a guy makes fun of you, I don't care how little it is. It's like being in jail. If you're in jail and somebody steals your shit, you gotta fight them. In real life,
Mm.
if somebody disrespects you the slightest way, you gotta realize that it leaked out. People who hate you don't want to show it. When they show it, it's because they can't hold it in. So when you're seeing
Mm.
that, you're seeing the iceberg, you're seeing the tip of the iceberg. Anytime somebody shows you any negative emotion, just realize there's more hiding behind that. And it was a mistake that they showed it. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So it's like, you
Yeah.
should be less tolerant of people's bullshit. Less tolerant, because when the truth comes out, they blame it on the alcohol. They blame it out because they were mad. But you got to realize people never do things just once. That same dude, 3 weeks later, when I was playing D on him, he was like, "Bro, stop fucking touching me like that." And I was like, "You see, he really didn't apologize. He was just mad
Yeah.
that he exposed himself."
Mm.
It's just how it is.
That's some deep shit, man. That's powerful, man. As an influencer, you're an influencer. You're someone who I think we could bona fidely, I don't know what word I'm trying to use, but say strongly as an influencer. How many followers do you have on Instagram now?
On Instagram, it's around 15, 16.
15.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So you're more than the general population. You're a little up there. And on YouTube, I know you have people as well. You get a good amount of views. People know you.
Mhm,
And you run these workshops in different cities. Where have you
mhm.
been? You were overseas doing a workshop as well, weren't you? I think were you in
Yeah,
Europe? Was that?
yeah. Well, mainly I do my workshops in London, Amsterdam, Berlin, New York City,
Yeah,
Toronto.
that's incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's lucky, man. I'm lucky.
As an as an influencer, you have a responsibility to be genuine to your audience, to communicate in I think a high level, but a way that doesn't damage anyone. I know how that feels on a smaller scale. I don't necessarily have as many people looking at me, but I've experienced a version of that. How does that sit with you? You being an influencer, do you take that as a responsibility that seriously? I know a lot of people who are influencers who I have friends that are that don't. They're just yeah, it is what it is, and they just put out a bunch of bullshit and they don't care.
Hmm.
How do you see yourself as an influencer? Do you care? Is it something that you recognize that you have responsibility? Because I think there's a lot of people in this age who are just all online, all putting stuff out. Do you think that I'm in a position where I'm privileged and blessed to do this, or like what is your perspective about being someone who's influencing others?
I mean, it's lucky. I mean, I never expected it, I suppose. I
Mm-hmm.
feel very lucky, but I could do better at it. I mean, the responsibility that I feel is more about allowing people to realize that they could do a lot more than they are doing. That they are more creative. That each individual has an individual calling in life, and that it's up to them to find what that is. That is
Mm-hmm.
my responsibility. But it's kind of like I really don't put that much conscious focus on that, I suppose. I mean, it's something that I don't think about too much. I just, yeah, I
Sure.
don't think about that part too much. The word
I
influence.
guess probably your bigger responsibilities as a coach than not an influencer.
Yeah, exactly. And to show people, like, I use my art to show people that once you find your purpose, you can learn really fast.
Mm.
Like I use my art to show people that, hey man, I'm doing this, you join. You join as well.
Yeah.
you know
I've seen your art, man. You have some nice stuff, man. You do portraits. I've
Thank
seen
you.
your portraits. You You have some pretty, I think, and on your site, mindfulattraction.org, you do portraits of people as well. And you're pretty exclusive with it too. It's not just like everyone come at me, let's get a portrait. You do one a week. You have some kind of, like, people have to actually chat up with you and you talk to them about this before you work on it. How'd you get into that? I didn't see you as an artist before. I just saw you in New York and that's why you doing the coaching thing. I didn't know you did that. It kind of hit me out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Where was the inspiration for that? How did that start?
it's like it's that's the thing about humans is that in you there are things that you don't know about you that's waiting to come out. You know,
Mm,
there are callings. There's a voice inside of every human being that they experience in their own unique way that is talking to them, but is being muted because of the outside noise through jealousy, through envy, wanting something fast, not having patience. So my art came about, like, again, like I said, I was reading Robert Greene's book, right? And the way you find out what you're meant to do is through your emotions. Your emotions, you can't
mm,
really translate them, but you could definitely follow your emotions through your inclinations, through
mhm,
things that you just naturally want to do without even knowing why. So I was reading the
mm.
book, his book called Mastery, and for some reason, something in me believed
Great
that
book.
that was possible. Yeah, that book is pretty much, I call it the secret to life. It's a secret to life
Okay.
because through that book you could uncover the secrets of life. It's the truth. So I was reading that book, and it just resonated with me. It just did, and I just kept reading it and reading it. And at that time, Tim, I thought
Mm,
my purpose was to read books and to apply the things that the book said. And I was just reading 3 hours a day,
uh-huh.
writing notes. And then one day I went to Amsterdam and I was reading that book. And then I saw an interview that Robert Greene said that that book was inspired by Leonardo da Vinci's life because he was the greatest
I
master of
see.
them all. So then I was like, okay, you know how when you have a friend, if you like him, most likely you'll like his friends, you know,
Yeah.
simply because of connection. I was like, you know what? If I like this book, most likely I'll like Leonardo da Vinci's biography. And I started reading it,
Mhm.
and I was like, holy shit, I could do this. It's like I
Wow.
could really do this. And what I did, I followed what the book says. I gave myself a 10-year plan. I never expected to get good fast. I said to myself, I'll give myself 10 years to say if I'm good or not. Not 1 year, not 2 years. You know what happens when you give yourself 10 years? All of a sudden, you
Mhm.
stop trying to speed things up and you slow things down. You start focusing on the fundamentals because you have 10 years, my dude. Why do you need to rush it? And you know what
Wow.
happens when you do that? You actually speed up the process because everybody's trying to get those likes. Everybody's trying to get to color as soon as possible. Everybody's trying to do the Mona Lisa as soon as possible. I said to myself, Alexis, just enjoy the process. Like I made it felt like a romantic feeling of being alone with art and learning it. I felt like I was a little kid, like going from my childhood to adulthood in art. I didn't
Mm.
feel like a 29-year-old man. I felt like a 7-year-old kid who just discovered art. And so,
Had you drawn before that?
well, yeah, when I was little, I used to copy Dragon Ball Z, you know? And that
Okay.
book says that look in your past. What were the things that you did that when you did, your focus became unbelievable, like you just focus intensely. For me, it was art. But I still did I had to have like an aha moment to realize that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Because there's a lot of limitations with starting things when you're late in your years. There's a lot of
Mhm.
limitations. You think you don't have a lot of time left. But you know what happens is that you got to make time your friend. In other words, as 5 years as a kid feels like 20 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
As
It
an
does. Yeah.
5 years to me feels like 3 years. In other
Mm.
words, the illusion of learning fast is there as an adult. So I just said to myself, time is going to speed up anyways. So those 5 years are going to fly by like that. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like
That's true.
it's like I'm learning fast. So so it's kind of like you reframe things. I'm too old. No, time is fast now. Let's just use that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
it,
That's
it's it,
incredible.
it's a different perspective. So it's kind of like when you're older, yeah, you don't learn fast, but time flies faster. So you could use that
Mhm.
illusion to keep you going. Because then 2 years has passed already. That was 2 years already when I started, almost a year and a half. You know, that went by pretty
Yeah.
fast. And the next three
Uh-huh.
years are going to go by even faster. So that means I'm going to learn faster. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's incredible, man. And you're
Oh,
doing it. Like, you're actually doing it. Like, the art you're putting out there. Sometimes, by the way, and I'm not gassing you at all. I don't even know it's you. Like, because on Instagram, sometimes the thing that catches you first is not who posted. It,
hmm
like, the picture catches you. So I see the picture, and I'm like, I don't follow art pages. And then and then I'm like, Alexis posted this, and I'm like,
Mhm.
what? Like,
Mm.
fuck.
Yeah, it's bro, it's I do that to show people. It's the reason why is because it's kind of like not a lot of people walk the walk, you know? Like I'm a
Mhm.
dating coach, but that's just not it. Like I'm using art to show people that they could do anything they set their minds to, and I'm doing it to show
Do
you.
you do you see yourself as doing anything else besides art in the future? Like, because there's people. Tim Ferriss is an example of this. He's a great inspiration for this podcast. He's or there's other people who, every 10 years they'll pick something, and then, by the time they're 70, 75, they've mastered hang
Mhm,
gliding, mastered rock climbing. They've been to 20 countries, they speak 7 languages, right? There's
mhm,
those kind of people. Do you think, let's say you hit year 10 or year 7, and
mhm,
you've sold over 500K in art, or you've commissioned some art project, and the MoMA has a small little thing with a painting you did, nothing major, but they have something
mhm,
from you. Like, let's make it up.
mhm.
Could you see yourself saying, I'm going to pick something else from something that I feel in my soul that I want to give another 10 years to?
That's it. You see, it's there are two different kinds of approaches that people change their career. They have to change their career because they want to show people how geniuses they are, or they change their career because it was just a natural progression, like the bloom of a flower. Like it has to be a natural progression. It cannot be it's like Donald Glover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like how did Donald Glover start? He didn't start as a rapper. He started as a writer. And if you notice,
Mm.
everything he does is what? Writing. Comedy,
Yeah.
writing.
He's a
Producer,
poet.
poet, right? He's a great
Yeah.
comedic writing, rapping, writing, writing shows, writing. So it's kind of like the progression isn't a conscious progression. It's more of like an inner exploration and following your
Mm.
inclination. So yeah, maybe. I mean, like for example, I tried sculpting. Why? Because I liked Michelangelo. So I started doing sculpting, and I didn't like it, so I stopped it. So it's kind
Why
of like
didn't you like it?
it just didn't absorb me like drawing does. And what you want to gravitate is towards what absorbs your attention. You want to know why? Because it's part of you. Learn about the people who you admire because there's something in you that wants to know about them. And the more you learn about them, the more you're going to inquire their mentality and their value system. And from those inspiration, your career would change. And you know what? It has to change. It's you're changing. Your life is never linear. It's very
Mhm.
it has its twists and turns, but you cannot force it. You just have to look within
Yeah.
and let it guide you. Stop trying to be
Mm.
this or that. Just try to be who you're meant to be. Like that is like who you're
Wow.
meant to be
Yeah.
is genius. Like the way I see it is this, Tim. Every single in the universe, in the ether, there are
Mhm.
discoveries that are waiting to be discovered by specific people. Like for example, Einstein was chosen to discover the laws of quantum physics. Why? Because he was the only scientist who was able to do experiments with his mind. There was no other way to
Mm.
discover that. So it was like he was uniquely chosen, not by God, or maybe we do, but because his hardwiring, his brain was specifically hardwired to to have an advantage in that specific area, in that specific area only. What you want to do is find
Yeah.
out what is your brain specifically hardwired to do and what makes you unique. Because when you do that, there's a certain thing that people do not know yet that you will discover if you just strengthen
Mm.
your strength and focus on your strengths. Every single person has a discovery. Everyone just has to find that out. Every single
Mhm.
artist, every single musician has a certain style that's unique to them because only they like a specific set of things that's unique to them. Does that make sense?
Right.
It- does that make
It
sense? Or
does.
okay,
Here's the
yeah.
thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I love this, and I think it's true, and I agree. I'm with you on this 90%. 10% that I have to come back at you on is this.
Mhm,
You're a world traveler. You are an entrepreneur. You're an artist. You play basketball. You're essentially a well-rounded package, right? I'm similar. I'm a world traveler as well. Uh, I have my own passions. I do business and content marketing and things like that. And I've run a YouTube channel. I've helped people. So for us, this is something we can discover because we've tapped into this side of learning. We've built the muscles.
mhm,
What about Joe, who was an accountant, whose dad told him go to college, and he listened to his dad, and now he's listening to my podcast, or he listens to your stuff. He's 28 years old and he's doing that. What about Sarah, who works at the hospital and she's a nurse, and she goes home and watches Netflix, and she's hearing this and is feeling inspired right now, but she does not have the self-exploration gene or muscle, if it's nature or nurture, that we both have. I can resonate with what you're saying. I'm with you on it. This is a path I'm on, and I'm learning from you here right now, hearing this, because I haven't thought about these things in this way. But there's other people that are also learning from you, but they may not have the capacity to change or to implement the way I could, or the way some of my friends who would listen to this, or your friends who would listen to this could. What about those people? What do you tell them?
Well, the truth is that I have a lot of time in my hand to focus on my passions, right? And that's the first step. But the thing is that most likely what you might be asking is how could they make money off of it? Perhaps, is that what you're asking? Or how could they find it?
Not even money. Like, how do you find it? Like, if you're in the rat race and life isn't exciting to you, not where it's miserable, but where it's just doing the same thing every day, and you want to build that legacy the way you're building it, the way I'm trying to build it, and you're not put in a position where you have that time. How do you start that creative freedom in your brain where you can look at your childhood and look at what you love? How do you find the motivation to take the risk where you can actually do that kind of stuff the way you've done it?
Well, the first step is to want it. If you want it, you're there. Not that you're there, but it's that we're starting the engines. When you want, the first step is to want it, because if you really want it, there's a part of you that believes it's possible. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't want something that you don't believe is possible, right? That's the first step. After that, if you fear what's going to happen if you try to achieve that, you know how Tim Ferriss talks about fear setting? Yeah, exactly. That's what you do. You know what I'm saying? You start acting, what's the worst thing that could happen if I follow this? How can I, write down what are your fears? How could you recover if you try to follow this and things go wrong, and so that you can see in a concrete way that things might not completely fall. Like the first thing, like fear setting. So I would recommend you Google that, fear setting, because I forgot how it usually went. But after that, you don't want to make a drastic change in your life. That's not realistic. We got to be realistic about this, right?
I'm happy you said that, because good. Yeah.
You don't, because then your creativity, your creative energy is going to be destroyed by stress. You need to focus on first having a stable income, and if you could find a way to work at a job. And the thing is that some people do not want to make the sacrifice. They got to realize they got to pay a price for this. You have to pay a price. You cannot do this without paying some price. It's the price that you pay that will transform you. The price that you pay to learn this is what will transform you. Because in order to be who you're meant to be, you will need to be transformed. Who you are today who you are today cannot do what you're meant to be, or what you're meant to do. It's like who I was 3 years ago before I started art cannot do what I'm doing now. The person who I am became who I am because of the struggle of learning. The process of mastery is what transforms you. That is the transformational process, going through finding ways to deal with procrastination, finding the energy to draw in the morning, finding ways to set out time to draw. That's what transforms you. And the practice transforms you. So the first step is to find a way to make time. You see, you're building the skill right now. I mean, you see what I'm saying? It's kind of like, all right, I don't got time to do this. Okay, then find the time.
Yeah.
Boom. You just started a transformational process. Now you're thinking about how to improve your time.
Yeah.
Okay. Now find people who you admire and read their biographies. See what in you focus on. And what you're doing is that you're bringing up a lot of emotions that are inside of you already. I'm being inspired by Michelangelo's biography. I'm being inspired by Van Gogh. I'm being inspired by Leonardo, by Robert Greene. And those inspiration is energy. It is energy, right? And that energy can be turned into creative thinking. How am I going to make this happen? What should I study? What are the fundamentals I have to focus on? But it starts by you taking one step at a time. Read their biographies, learn from their life, and then use that inspiration to take you into action. Does that make sense?
Amazing. It does. That was such a good answer, man. That's so true. And I think that people can apply that. Like you said, you have to want it. And I think you have to identify why you want it. a lot of the stuff I've been working on, what I work on with my students and my content a lot is shadow work. This idea of the shadow, saying that it's kind of like the shadow that you have as a human, is your fears and the things that are quote unquote bad about you. Those things are okay, and then you have to
Mm-hmm.
accept that they're there, and you don't run from them. So let's say you're scared of art. Like, you're not scared
Mm-hmm.
of art literally, but scared to pursue that because I may not be good, or because I may fail, or because I have a job and I don't know if I can commit time. Okay, that's fine to be afraid of that, but at least jump on the steps and the train that's going towards whatever vision you have that you could potentially do.
Oh,
And that train is reading the books. That train is buying art supplies. That train is drawing. That train is
but it's beautiful though, because the shadow says a lot more about ourselves than any other thing. Like, for example,
Mhm.
if you envy somebody who's a great artist, rather than hating on him, rather than sabotaging him, use that energy to take action. Say, oh, you know what?
Mhm.
Fuck that nigga, man. Oops, I'm my fault. Fuck that bitch. You know
Bro,
what?
you black?
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Right. I'm kidding. I got that black card.
This podcast has the E on Spotify. It has the E for inappropriate
I
language.
know, right?
Go ahead.
My fault. Right? But like, for example, it's kind of like when I see people who are better artists than me, I don't get jealous, right? But when, for example, like when my ex broke up with me, right? I hated her,
Yeah.
and I was like, I want to get her back. So what did that anger got me to? It got me to work out. It got me to read books on how to make more money to get revenge. But after a while, that anger goes away, and what's left is the inspiration. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
It's kind of like, use
Yeah.
your envy, use your all those negative emotions, use the fact that people, how the underdog mentality, right?
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
the underdog mentality is feeling rejected and using that to
Yeah.
become stronger. You're
Hmm.
using that, you be, rather than suppressing the fact that people rejected you, you bring it into your conscious awareness, and you use that to propel you to take action. You use that
Hmm.
to change your goals. Like if like, for example, I remember seeing this one dude who had two girlfriends, right? Like, I was at the gym, no, I was at the Super Bowl, and I
Hmm.
saw two lesbians. I was like, oh, two lesbians, right? And then walks in this bald headed white dude with glasses, kisses one of the girls. I was like, oh shit. And then he goes and kisses. I was like, oh my God, I'm leaving this place right now. I'm together. He
He was doing that as a flex.
Oh, he was flexing 100%. But bro, the jealousy that I felt him, it was debilitating. I almost got to my knees. But you know what happened afterwards? I was like, you know what? Fuck that shit, man. I gotta have this. And bro, I've never been so intense about something more than that. And it happened.
Yeah.
I got two girlfriends for like 3 months, for like 3 months, right? But the girl that I was with, she was too lesbian. She wanted to go back to her girls. But the point was,
Hmm.
is that pain, that like deep envy, bro, that is energy.
Hmm.
Don't suppress it. Stop
Hmm.
hating. If you believe, if he has it, you could do it too. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
you have dark energy to redirect it towards a goal that could help you. You know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's
That's
crazy.
amazing. No, it does. It does. It makes sense. That's great, dude. You're a person of color, and you're a
Hmm.
coach. And
Yeah.
there are coaches that are people of color, but I think that the industry that we're both in, teaching self help, a lot of that inner work. There are people. You have people like Shan Boudram, um, and you have Preston Smiles. Those kind of people that are also people of color. But I'm curious, what is it? Not what it's like per se, but do you have any special, I guess, responsibilities to a certain niche as a person of color? I know me, I've attracted a lot of people of color in my audience, people that
Hmm.
are brothers like me and you. Um, I've gotten a lot of criticism, like, why do you only date white girls? Which actually is not true. All my previous girlfriends have been black.
Yeah, actually, black.
Um, but I get a lot of that. As a person of color, yeah, as a person of color who is a coach, do you find that there's added pressure on you to perform to a certain expectation,
No.
or do you not even recognize
No, I don't see it. They see me as Hispanic. I mean, they know I'm dark skinned, but I
that?
don't I
Sure.
don't get too much of that. Yeah, I don't get too much of that. I'm not like I don't like I'm not seasoned with culture too much. Like
Mhm.
like I'm not too into that, unfortunately. So I don't get that
Yeah.
much. Yeah, other coaches do get
Yeah.
it though. Like, I see it in comment sections. Like, man, it's great to see a black coach. I relate to that.
Right. Yeah.
But with me,
Yeah.
nah. It's just, I guess I'm different brand.
That hasn't affected all the demographic of people that are coming to you for coaching and for
It
advice?
has to. It has to. I just don't notice it.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, it has to.
Sure.
You know, the way you look affects the people you get. You know,
Yeah. Dude,
but
as we're coming to the end, I want to ask you this. Literally, a part of that answer you just gave. I think some people would hear you talk, and I think that if they didn't know you, maybe they would say, like, he's really wrapped in himself. You don't sound arrogant at all, but I think
Mhm,
some people could say that. But what I see when I talk to you is you sound like you're just loving life, man. Like, you sound like
mhm,
you're loving your path. You sound like you're inspired. You sound like you're mentally healthy.
mhm.
Um, how do you love yourself, man? Not just I'm not asking this just specifically like how do you, Delexis, love yourself, but this is kind of my last thing I have for you, and then I'll let you go.
Mhm.
How does one love themselves? And I'm sure you're still on that journey, of course. I'm sure there's days where you feel a little less loved than you normally do. But I think if I had to guess, you seem like you're in a good place. You're giving out value and you're creating a change in this world. How do you start that?
Nah, I'm very dissatisfied. I'm a very dissatisfied
Really
person. Yeah, yeah. I'm
interesting.
never happy. I'm never happy with my art. I always think it needs more work. I'm never happy with the amount of women I get. I always think I could get more. I mean, it's it's my curse. You know, it's kind of it's never enough for me. It's never
Mm,
enough. And the only saving grace is that I'm aware of that. You know, I'm very
okay.
aware that I'm a dissatisfied person, and I just use
Does
that.
that dissatisfaction though mean would you say you don't have self-love or you don't love the journey you're on? Are you saying
Oh,
that? Or
okay.
are you just saying I'm actually interested in hearing that, but I'm curious because I still think that even in dissatisfaction, there can be love for the journey you're on and just the things you've done or the person the where you're trying to be.
Well, okay, right now since there's no classes, I'm a little more dissatisfied. But
Sure, sure.
when I have a rhythm, when I have a routine, when I'm working, um, what tends to happen is that I'm so focused in my art that women, like, if I don't remind myself, I wouldn't go on a date with a woman. Like, if I'm like, hey man, like, you got a dick, bro, you gotta just go out. You know, like I wouldn't go out. But right now, I mean, yeah, I do love myself, but it could be better. I'm not there
Mm,
yet. I'm always comparing myself. I need to improve on that. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
It's how can I say? It's like I've gotten better, but I need to improve on that more self love. In fact, I'm actually gonna go get therapy. In fact, because I think I'm that.
really? Well,
Yeah, because it's kind of like it's not that I'm crazy, but like it's kind of like I'm
well, you seem a little wild every time I meet you in New York. No, I'm messing with you.
no, yeah, right, right. Well, last time you saw me, I was outside drawing people. Right? Always doing something random, but like I gotta learn to be more warming to people. I'm very distant. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mm,
I'm not there yet. I really am not. It's something I need to work on. Because
mm,
maybe everything that I'm doing is to find love. You know what I'm saying? Maybe.
maybe.
Yeah, I'm
Sure.
I'm not there yet. And that's why I
Yeah.
don't talk about that kind of stuff. you know.
Yeah, I think that honesty is amazing, man. And you've just given so much value on this podcast, man. Where can we find your stuff? Where if for guys and women who want to learn about dating healthier, being more attractive,
Um,
um,
well,
finding their passions, where can they
well,
find you?
well. First of all, I got to give it to you, bro. Your content is pretty legit. I always watch it. Just to let you know.
Oh, I
You
appreciate
have
that, man.
you seem like you put a lot of time. You're editing. You take your time with your stuff.
Well,
And
I pay someone to edit it now.
still though,
I have the general direction, but he's the one making it happen. But yeah, we have it's a good team.
it's you sort of it shows you that sometimes YouTube doesn't reward the quality. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
so it's
No,
kind
for
of like
sure.
yeah, like just to always keep that in mind. It's kind of like YouTube doesn't always reward the best people. I mean, look at me.
Mm, yeah. Well, no, you're killing it, bro. You're growing.
you know, but yeah, they could find me on YouTube, mindfulattraction.org. They could find my courses, Dark Game. I have a course called Dark Game, and they could check that out. Just go to my website, mindfulattraction.org, and they could find information there. But
And
it's a
you're on Instagram as well
oh yeah, Instagram. The Lexus
as
P
the
D A
Lexus P, right? Yeah.
L E S P. Yeah. And yeah, and look, I'll tell people this, man. I always give the books that I
Mhm.
recommend them to read. I always recommend The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene and Mastery by Robert Greene. If you guys want to learn more about the things I talked about,
Laws of Human Nature and Mastery
and
by
Tim
Robert Greene. I
and
don't know
Tim's
the Laws of Human
YouTube
Nature or
channel and
Mastery.
Tim's podcast. So check that out too. Subscribe too. Hit
Yeah,
the
well,
notification.
if there we go. The Lexus, man, it was a pleasure having you, dude. I'm gonna let you go now. We'll definitely chat soon. I'd love to have you back on this one.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it, man. You too, man. Let's do something on my channel too. You
For
know.
sure, my guy.
Let me know
Talk to
when.
you later, brother.
Yeah, be safe, bro.